John McCann.
Greetings. Welcome to Wake the Dead. Today, we are very, very happy to have our good friend, Jerry Marzinsky. Welcome, Jerry. Hello.
Good to be here.
So, for the listeners who are not familiar with Jerry, Jerry is a retired licensed psychotherapist with over 35 years of experience working with and studying the thought processes and the voices heard by psychotic and criminally insane patients in some of the most volatile psychiatric institutions in the nation. He was awarded the state of Arizona's Meritorious Service Award while working in the psychology department of a large state prison. He was also awarded the Pima College's Apple Award for the teaching of abnormal psychology. Jerry has held the position of second lieutenant in the Arizona Civil Air Patrol and is a licensed commercial pilot, a certified scuba diver, and a long-distance motorcycle rider. And you and I we both share that as well. It's one of the most amazing things to be out on a beautiful road, 50 miles an hour, and the wind blowing. It's just
it's the next best thing to flying.
Yes, yeah, it is. I always compare it to that too. Yes. He also said, "I wish I could be a pilot too. I need to learn." But anyway, here we go. Moving on. He also served as an assistant scoutmaster. His formal academic training comprises a BA in psychology from Temple University, a master's degree in counseling from the University of Georgia, and 2 years of study in a PhD psychology program. He is co-author of An Amazing Journey into the Psychotic Mind, Breaking the Spell of the Ivory Tower. That book we spoke about, that was Jerry's first interview with us here on Wake the Dead.
It's this one here.
Yes, here. Let me share. That was his groundbreaking book, which revealed to all of us that the voices that schizophrenics hear is not the person's own voice. It's not their head, and these things they work from they work they have a recognizable pattern, and they are not working for our benefit. These voices are basically demons. They are demons, and we established that. People can listen to our previous episodes, and people should definitely read Jerry's book. They can find jerrymarzinsky.com, and that's with a Y. Here it's being shared on the screen. And Jerry also uses the MACE, M-A-C-E method. He has found that is the most effective psychological fix.
Psychotherapy,
right?
Yeah,
You're better with the words.
And in all 40 years, I haven't seen anything that works as good as Mace does.
Beautiful. And that was our third episode, I believe. So people should go back and listen to that as well. So there is much that Jerry has brought to our ears, and he's here to join us again, and we are very happy to have him. So welcome, Jerry. Thank you for being here at Wake the Dead once more.
You're very welcome.
Awesome. So today, it's been a while, and we love you. My listeners love you. It's really always fun to talk to you. And I've been recently diving deep with my friends, I guess they're co-hosts on this series that we've been doing, looking into the Epstein files. And I titled it Satanism Exposed in the Epstein Files. And it's revealing the psychopathy and we went into the artwork that they like to look at, and we went into the, we're trying to understand their psychology, right? And the more I look and learn, and the more I learn about generational satanic abuse, the uh, those types of families, they they work with demons on purpose, and so this is, I mean, this explains maybe why the predator class is so evil. I mean, they're not human anymore. It's
No.
their right.
Yeah.
So I wanted to have you, and because you do a lot of interviews, but you really um you're you're talking from your experience with the people that you've personally dealt with. And
Yeah.
I wonder if you can take that knowledge and apply it to the wider world, and maybe we can get into a few tells. Maybe we could like try to, describe the schizophrenic mind in a way that will make it easier for us to recognize it when we see it, because there's newscasters telling us things. I mean, they're burning children in Gaza, and it's like just nothing. It's like this is business, guys, and whatever, forget. And I don't think a normal human could talk like that, and I believe that they are in league with evil. And I suspect that the ones that you've encountered at these institutions are the broken failed ones, and they
Well,
are
they got caught.
right.
They got caught.
They got caught by the criminal justice system.
Yeah. Yeah, see that brings up a story. There's um, working with the prisoners was interesting, especially the schizophrenic ones. So I remember one I was talking to, and he said, he was using drugs. I mean, meth is it just opens these people up. It's like, come and get me. It's just asking the demons to come and even the prisoners called meth the devil's drug, you know. So
Wow.
they would know who it is. And this fella he was using meth, and when he ran out of meth, the voices would tell him where to go and when to be there, and some stranger would show up with more meth. Okay?
Exactly.
I've heard that over and over again. There was another one who was robbing houses. And he was a pretty successful thief because he was gutsy. He would break into the windows at night. He'd go in, rob the people at night. But he also was hearing voices, and the voices would tell him when the people in the house were up and when to get out. You know, so they would also pick the houses that he was supposed to rob. Like, okay, that's a good one there. So he was telling me one time, he said, I broke into this one house. The people got up and the voices said, get out of here. They're up. They're, get out. So he jumps out and he goes to run down this alley to the left, and they tell him, no, don't go down there. The cops are coming up that alley. Go around to this other alley to the right. And then he sees this big dumpster, and they tell him, go jump in that dumpster. So he jumps in the dumpster, closes the lid quietly. The cops did come up the alley that he told them that they were coming. So there's times where they know stuff that the person himself doesn't, and they use that because they say, well, see, we know stuff you don't, listen to us, we can help you out, you know. So he he
So
he runs off to the right. He jumps in the big trash bin, and a cop just passes the trash bin with the flashlight, and he opens up the thing and he peeks, and the voice that tells him, "Okay, get out and run." And he said, "No, the cop's too close. He's only 20 feet away." And they said, "Do it anyway. Go." So he did. He got back to his apartment, and he said, and the voices start congratulating him. He said, "Good job, good job." And he goes, "Well, not so good a job. I left all the loot in the garbage can." in the dumpster. And the voices told him, no big deal. Go back there tomorrow morning and get it. You know,
Wow.
there was the so th- let me see that there was that one. Oh, there was
Well,
another one. Uh, he would rob houses also, and they would tell him which houses to rob. And he goes, yeah, I was rich. I was good at what I did. And he told me the voices would tell him which ones to rob, that kind of stuff. And I said, well, if they were so good, what are you doing here in the prison? I said, uh, how'd that work for you? And he goes, well, I got greedy and I robbed a house he told me not to go into, and they caught me
wow.
there.
So that proves to him that they are totally legit. Like even,
Oh, yeah.
yeah. So
Yeah.
like,
I mean, they're actually hearing these things and those things correspond to physical reality. There was the most dramatic one I heard like that was, now this guy had completely recovered by the time he told me this story. The voices were gone. I'd worked with him for 6 months. He finally got rid of them. And he told me that he had a long criminal record, drug abuse, robbery, assault, all kinds of stuff. It's like pages long. And, I could sense that he wanted to do something with himself. He was tired of being the way he was. And he told me this story one day after he had recovered. He said he was in San Diego and the voices said to him, he said, we know where there's a sesame pot field up in Oregon. So he's in Southern California, and they tell him, we know where this pot field is. They said he had like $300 or something like that at the time. They said, get yourself a machete, two burlap sacks, and bring your 250. I think it was 250. He said at the time, $250. He said, bring that with you, and we'll show you where it is. So he trusted him, and he went. So he jumps in his car. He starts driving up to Oregon, and they're telling him where to go, which highways to take, where to turn, where to go. When they were giving him instructions the whole way. He'd never been there before. So he gets on like this 23-mile dirt road that's heading for the mountain, and he covers that, and then he runs out of dirt road at the base of the mountain. And he says, "Okay, what now, voices? There's no more road." They said, off to your right is a hiking path. You know, you know, go off there, and it's a couple 100 feet away. Watch for a path. They said, find that path and take it. So he walks up that path for like 4 hours, and he gets to this giant sesamoia pot field, and he fills up the two burlap sacks and takes him back down the mountain. And he asked the voices, well, what do I do now? Where do I go with this? They said, well, there's a national park right up the way there. Go there. There's a lot of people who buy it there. So he goes there and he starts selling this stuff and he's getting rich. Apparently it was pretty good pot. And he bought all the whores he could buy, he wanted. He bought all the alcohol and cocaine he wanted. And this is where he threw me off. He said the voices were fishermen. They wanted to go fishing. And I look at him. I said, "You're pulling my leg now. You giving me, you know, giving me a bunch of crap." He goes, "No, no, they wanted to go fishing." And I said, "Well, what happened?" He said, "Well, I got some fishing poles and I went fishing. I got brought my cocaine and brought my alcohol, and so as far as he was concerned, he was in heaven. All the prostitutes he wanted, all the cocaine he could buy, as much alcohol as he wanted. He doesn't have to work, and he's fishing. And the voices would tell him where to go to fish, where to throw his hook, how long to stay there, and when to move. And he told me
wow.
he was the only one on the Columbia River catching fish that day. You know,
Wow.
so that went on for maybe uh, a month or so. And then one day he runs out after, I think it was like the third time he did it. And he was going for the third time. And he says, I ran out of pot. I got to go get some more because I need some more money. So he must have bought a lot of prostitutes, and uh, the drugs weren't cheap either. So
Right.
he goes to go up there a third time, and the voices say, "No, don't go up there. They're waiting for you. You go up there now, they're going to kill you. They know you've been robbing them. They know you know where their pot thing is, their pot field is. Take your uh, the money you got and go back to San Diego." So he went back with a lot more money than he had, and he was completely convinced these things are great, you
Right.
know, but they started destroying him, all the drugs and the stuff they were telling him to do. Uh, so
We
he got
I'm sorry. We spoke with Lynn, your friend Lynn
Monet.
Monet, and she told us about how there are other entities that suck the alcohol out of alcoholics, and like, the addictions are also similar to the voices. They don't work the same, but they hover around. She was
Oh
talking
yeah,
about her
yeah.
brother was alcoholic, and he would, even when he was sober, the demon would still be in the corner waiting, like, because he was a good target. But
That's why they keep relapsing.
right,
You
right.
know, there was one prisoner who he was an Apache, and they were bringing him down from northern Arizona because he was so drunk and violent that they couldn't handle him in the Apache jail anymore. They sending him straight to prison. And I got word that he was gonna arrive in my unit. So I was watching him, and he was blowing through all the normal checkpoints that prisoners have to go to before they're sent to a unit. They're usually sent to classification where they're evaluated for a specific unit. He blew right through there. And I also heard that he was like an evil Indian medicine man. He worked with spirits and cast spells on people, that kind of stuff. So I was like interested to meet him. So when he got onto my unit, I called him in, put in a pass for him to come, and he showed up. But man, he hated white people. You could just feel the hate rolling off of him, you know. And he's just giving me the evil eye the whole time he's in my office. And I said, "Well, I'm Jerry. I'm your psych. You're assigned to me. You're on anti-psychotic drugs. I'll be monitoring you. I'll be calling you in once a month and seeing you, see how you're doing." Okay? And I could just feel the hatred rolling off him. And I said, "Okay, I'll catch you next month," because I saw that they gave him the meds. So it took like 6 months before I could, actually start holding a conversation with him. And he would tell me about, he was bad alcoholic, but he would tell me about fights with evil spirits, the shadow people. Um, he also told me about these alcoholic spirits. He said there's a bar in Phoenix, Arizona, where if he went anywhere near that bar with any kind of alcohol in him, these things would jump him and they would get in him and he would start drinking again. He said that bar, there were so many of these dead alcoholics piled over that bar that he said they disappeared into the sky. He couldn't see the end of them.
Oh wow, it was just like a line of them waiting
A
for.
line of them waiting.
Oh
And
man.
what they do is they wait for these guys to get drunk enough to jump into them.
And then they follow them home and then make them drink more tomorrow,
Yeah,
and then
yeah. So
okay.
what alcoholics need to know is they're not the only ones drinking. These are dead alcoholics. They can't get high in the spiritual form. They can't get drunk anymore. So they jump into some alcoholic who's not resisting. He's already half drunk, and then they continue drinking from there.
Wow. Like the blackout maybe is like when the consciousness of the normal person
Hmm.
disappeared when the demon took over. It's like
They jump
blackout
in.
drunk. Yeah, right. Yeah. Wow.
There was one that told me there's this bar in Tucson that looks like a ship. They call it the Gentleman's something or other. But basically it's a you know drunken strip joint or something like that. Girls go there too. I mean, so he said he went there with the voices and he's checking out all the women. And the voices tell him, see, he was attracted to another one. And the voices said, no, this other one over here. All right. So the voices won. He went and he started flirting with that woman. He took her home and she liked to be strangled while they were having sex. Go figure. I mean,
Wow.
okay. And
Because she had a demon, probably.
she had a
Anyway,
demon too.
right.
So he strangled her so much that she passed out and he thought he killed her.
Yeah.
But it was the demons who picked her out.
Wow. Because they like to do this, the
That kind of
sadism,
kinky, crazy shit.
right?
Yeah.
Like the man, like the Marquis de Sade or whatever. Like when we were doing William Ramsey and Hans Utter and myself, we were doing this long series
Oh, you
looking at
did
the
what
Epstein.
you worked with William Ramsey, huh?
Yeah, William is a good friend. Yeah,
Yeah.
yes.
He's in Britain.
No, William is in California.
Oh, okay.
Um, there might be somebody, but anyway, William. I think he's had you on before. I think you've spoken to him
Well, I'm
before.
working with a guy, William Ramsey, now who's in Britain, he's doing a documentary.
Oh, okay. Wow. Interesting. With the same that well, I hope you do a documentary. I want to hear your story on a documentary. That's fantastic. That's great.
Well, we'll see.
Uh,
It's coming along.
in that series, we decided to uh talk about a movie that relates to their psychology, and we watched Sallow, 120 Days of Sodom. It's where they take the 120 Days of Sodom, which is the book by Marquis de Sade, and they turn it into a movie about fascist Italy. It is really sick and disgusting, and there's no resolve at the end. It's just like it makes you. But I mean, but it that that sadism is what like they wanted the girl whose mother died trying to save her, and she was crying, and they both like get that, or all four of them get up, these dudes, because they want to prey on the one who cries the best, who has the
Oh,
most.
they feed off of that negative energy. That's their food.
That's what I was
That's
getting
why
at.
they're constantly negative. I mean, they don't
Right.
say anything positive. They're the most common and consistent trait of a schizophrenic is their negativity. They're consistently negative, derogatory. These are the voices. Consistently negative, derogatory, insulting, abusive, and destructive. They
Right.
want the person to suffer and they feed off of that negative emotional energy that that suffering generates. But the schizophrenics themselves are not aware of that. Now, it's not just schizophrenics, they get us all. They hit everybody to different degrees. Schizophrenics, they have a lot more control over because they've kind of caved into them, you know. Um,
Like the schizophrenics allow them to take control, allow the voices to take control of their body,
yeah, so
basically.
one of the biggest things they struggle with when they start hearing these things, because we're all told, whatever thought comes through your head belongs to you. That's not true
Right.
by a long shot. That's a very dangerous idea, and we're taught that from the time we're kids. Oh yeah,
But
you have a
but
thought, it
my
belongs to you.
but my pill says might give me suicidal ideation. That's my thought, right? You know what I'm
Yeah,
saying?
and
Right. Yeah.
50,000 people kill themselves in the United States every year.
Yeah.
Where do those thoughts come from? I mean,
Very good
survival
point.
is baked into the human being.
Right.
What is it that's powerful enough to overcome that survival instinct? You look at these guys stuck on the ocean on a raft, for 2 months,
Yeah.
where it would be so much easier to just give up and die. No,
Right.
50,000, that's as many as that died in Vietnam. And where do those thoughts come from for them to kill themselves?
Yeah.
That's these
Right.
demons.
And
And
I
th-
mean,
this
okay, go
planet
ahead.
is full of them. It's full of them.
Right.
This is the devil's playground. And the prisons, they own the prisons. They own the prisons. They run
Yeah.
the prisons.
Right. That makes sense.
Nothing
Even the
good.
guards have them because the guards like going in there and beating these guys. And you know what I mean?
Yeah,
Like,
yeah, some of them.
yeah.
I watched one cause a riot that $1 million worth of damage burned down the whole part of a unit because of one of these punk guards who was a black belt in karate who would, egg these guys on so he
Wow.
could he could.
Yeah. It's just like just being there. Like I was in prison briefly for selling cannabis and just it was like it was a lesson in psychology, like totally. Like the huge men were little children. The guards were all like abused as kids, like they're all like picked on. But I mean, just looking at all and you working there and then having to deal with these type of people must have been that times like 100. Must have been really just to
Well,
see
I
all these
found them
people. Oh my God.
fascinating.
Right.
Once I found out what the voices were, because I was brainwashed like everybody else. The psychiatric mafia and big pharma are telling everybody, including the educational institutions, that these voices are auditory hallucinations. So you think, oh yeah, hallucinations, So I'm like, well, hallucination. What? When I was undergraduate school, I go auditory hallucinations. So they sound like word salad. They don't make any sense. Like a
Right.
hallucination doesn't make any sense. You know. So that's what I thought. But then when I got hired at the largest psychiatric hospital in the United States, probably in the world. There were 10,000 psych patients there when I got there. And I was watching these schizophrenic guys carrying on coherent, long conversations with somebody I couldn't see.
Right.
It was like listening to somebody talking on a phone. You could hear what the person's telling into the phone, but you can't hear what's coming over the phone, you know? So I'm like, wait a second, something ain't adding up here, you know?
Right.
So I remember this one guy, and I became curious about the voices because none of the other staff were. They all bought into, hey, they're auditory hallucinations, all of them. None of them were curious about what these things were telling these patients. None of them were asking any questions. They weren't the least bit curious. They were all brainwashed to think they were auditory hallucinations, which the psychiatric mafia just throws up there as a declaration without any research at all. None. They just hereby proclaim that they're auditory hallucinations because that's what they look like and that's what they proclaim. You know, so now it's in all the DSM, it's in all the textbooks, it's being taught in the universities, and it's complete bunk. These things are far from auditory hallucinations, but they're making billions of dollars a year selling these toxic antipsychotic drugs because these guys have a chemical brain imbalance, which is a bunch of crap too. It's been disproved over and over again. It's a friggin' lie. It was made up by Eli Lilly, the drug company, back in the '60s when they came out with Prozac. They needed some excuse for how their medicine worked, and they didn't know, except that it was a serotonin reuptake inhibitor. That's all they knew.
Must
So
be
they
what.
made up this. Oh, it's a chemical imbalance of the brain. Bull crap.
We did a great episode on this. That was the main topic, and I remember playing a video of a guy going into like all these different doctors, and they were all prescribing different stuff for the same.
Oh yeah,
It
you
was
put
just
10 of them in the same room with a moderate
yeah,
diagnosis, and they all prescribe different things. It'll be different,
right,
different diagnoses.
right,
It's a scam. It's a
right. And
freaking scam.
there was like a man on the street interview in front of one of these psychiatric conventions, and there he was asking all these people, these doctors, and he would be like, what's the deal with the chemical imbalance? And they're like, oh yeah, it's not really, I don't know, it's just
Yeah.
and then they like hurry away. It was really a great episode. Everybody should just go back and listen. But so I mean, you said something ain't adding up here, right?
Yeah,
Like you
something
were
adding up here. One of the things with the voices didn't add up. The other thing that didn't add up is they're telling us it's a biochemical imbalance. But I would take my patients in to the psychiatrist when they first got there. Okay. They would ask them a few questions, and then they'd come up with a diagnosis, and then they'd come up with a medication. There wasn't anything that would measure this chemical imbalance that they said was wrong with these people in the first place.
Right.
And that happened time after time after time. And I'd ask them, I said, well, if it's a chemical imbalance, I mean, how do you know what are there, 23 neurotransmitters or something like that in the brain? I said, well, how do you know which ones are out of balance and by how much?
Right.
They don't.
Right.
They have no idea. They just
Right.
say that. And then
Right.
they just, like a dartboard, they go, well, let's start with this drug and see if that
Right.
works. If that don't work, well, we'll increase it or we'll decrease it or we'll switch to another drug or we'll add 23 other drugs one after another.
Right. And whatever happens, we'll get paid all the while.
Oh yeah, they're getting a fortune. You won't go into a psychiatrist and not come out with a prescription for something.
Right. Yeah. They'll find something to plug the
They'll
hole.
find something.
They'll find the
Yeah.
hole and they'll make up the hole and they'll plug it with whatever they decide. Yeah. And so like the employees, the other employees around you aren't asking the questions and they're just, you know, uh unaware, like ignorant on purpose, like ignoring the the
Well,
signs, right?
they didn't show any interest in the voices, and it was clear that the ones who were listening to the voices the most were the ones who were getting in the most trouble.
Right.
That was
So it
real
is a
clear.
symptom of the psychosis, and they don't want to pay attention to that because really their job is just to control
Right,
the patients.
right.
And so that's not
That's
their
it.
job to,
Control is the deal.
right.
So
And so
I remember there was one time as an undergraduate I was taking abnormal psychology, and here they are telling me uh, that they made us read a paper by a clinical psychologist, it's clinical psychiatrist that reported that if two crazy people met each other and they both thought they were Joe Biden, one of them would have to change his delusion. And even as an undergraduate, I'm looking at that and I'm going, why would that have to happen?
right,
I mean,
logic
they're
doesn't
both
work for
nuts.
them.
Why would they care?
Right, right.
It's like, so and here's a clinical psychologist writing this stuff, in a research paper, no less.
Right.
So I'm like, this doesn't make any sense. I couldn't. And one of the things I hated about psychology, you could not get access to a clinical population. You had to trust all the crap that they told you for 4 years in undergraduate psychology with no way to check it out other than experimental psychology when you went into a rat lab and you run these, behavioral
Right.
schemes and you can watch the stuff happen there. But otherwise, you got to take their word for it. And I didn't trust authority at all. I mean, as a kid, I never trusted authority.
God
And I
bless you.
didn't trust what they were telling me either. So I took this, oh yeah, two guys that meet each other that are crazy. One of them have to change. I tucked it in the back of my head. And there was one day when it was years later, I was doing rounds on a psychiatric unit on the second floor. And here's this new guy I hadn't met before. And he's carrying on a conversation with the voices. You could hear him. Da, 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 and he's arguing with them, talking to him. So I figured, well, I'm going to sneak up behind him, see if I can't hear what's going on there. So I got close, and he caught me. So he turns around, and I go, "Are you new here?" Yeah, I'm psych. I'm your psych on the unit. I haven't seen you before. He said, "Yeah, I got here last week." And I said, "What's your name?" And he says, "I'm Jesus Christ." And he looks me in the eye and he goes, "I'm Jesus Christ." So I look him in the eye and I said, no, you can't be Jesus Christ because I am. And I'm sitting there going, okay, what's he going to do? Is he going to change to Joe Biden or is he going to change to Nikita Khrushchev or what's he going to do? And he's thinking about it, and I'm like a pins and needles waiting for this guy to come up with something, and he's like, oh, did I? Well, he's thinking about it. And then he goes, okay, we can both be Jesus Christ. And he strolls off. And I'm thinking, what else did they lie to me about? What
Right.
else?
Right.
So it was like everything was suspect. And the other thing they taught us was that schizophrenics are so disorganized that they can't ever do any advanced planning at all. So there's one day I went over to another unit where one of my friends worked, and here comes this guy looking like Sigmund Freud. He's got a beard like Sigmund Freud. He's got a mustache like Sigmund Freud. He's wearing a sport jacket like Sigmund Freud. He's smoking a pipe like Sigmund Freud. And I'm like, Ed, who the hell is that? And he goes, oh, that's Sigmund. He's our psychologist or psychiatrist. And I went, wow, what a wacko. So, a couple months later, he calls me back and he says, hey, Jerry, you got to come over here and see this. And I go, what? He goes, you got to come see this. So jump in the car and I drove over to his unit and we go to the psychiatrist office, this Sigmund Freud's office, and before he got there. And I walk in and here's this pile of feces in the middle of the psychiatrist's desk shaped into a pipe. And I said, what's with that? And Ed says, this guy lived on the third floor of this psychiatric unit. He got out of his room at night, this schizophrenic. He hated the doctor because he overdosed. He gave him all these psych drugs and he hated it. So he got out of his room. He got down 3 flights of stairs, past 3 attendant stations, found this Dr. Freud's office, got through the lock somehow, crawled up on his desk, crapped on his desk, shaped it into a pipe, and then escaped the hospital. Now
Wow,
tell me
he's
this
free
guy,
now. Wow,
yeah, they never
wow,
found him. They never caught him.
wow.
Now you tell me
Legend.
tell me schizophrenics can't plan.
Right, exactly.
So
Right.
there was another one. So it's like
So,
how much of what they told me is garbage.
so, okay. And the way that the doctors were acting around you, that's very reminds me of the way the doctors were acting when the flu disappeared about 5 years ago. And all of a sudden, everybody's grandma was dying. And because they were giving them all these run death is near and, giving them the the air tanks and stuff. It was basically like a culling that happened about and the jabs too. Nobody was like paying attention. They were all like, "Oh yeah, trust the science." And those of us
Yeah,
who are
that's what
aware,
psychiatrists are saying too. Oh yeah, we're
right,
we're science people. We got
right.
all this scientific drugs and stuff, and yeah, this is the only thing that works. It's not. You know,
Meanwhile, though, the people that like are doing the evil, they know that nobody's looking and they can unfold this upon us. Yeah, it seems like the people that are in power understand psychology so well and they almost have access to knowledge that we don't. And they're applying it in a way that benefits the demons.
oh yeah,
And these people, like they,
psychiatrists are drugging down the entire population. I
yeah,
think it's
right,
like 1 out of every 9 people are on some kind of psychiatric drug now. It's a horrendous number. These
wow,
drugs don't cure anything like mace does. Mace will cure a lot of psychological cure. It's done. It's gone. They're gone.
right,
Not these drugs. They don't cure anything. They just tamp down symptoms.
right.
And the
And then it gives
antipsychotics
them the
actually kill the
shakes.
brain.
Right,
Yeah,
right. What you were going to say.
they're
Right,
they're
right,
toxic. These
right.
antipsychotic drugs are toxic. They have pages and pages of negative. What do they call them? Side effects.
Right.
They're not side effects. They're poisonous.
Primary. It's the primary effect, right? Like so they're running this script on everybody and they're saying, okay, treat it this way when it's almost like the doctors are managing the demons. Maybe
Yeah,
the
that's what they're
doctor,
doing.
you know.
That's what they're doing.
So like maybe the demons are also working with the doctors. Maybe they don't know it's not their voice. Maybe there's other, like like we were saying before, how maybe the schizophrenics are the broken one, they're the ones that got caught, right? So look at the people who are out there not getting caught.
Well, I don't think I think most psychiatrists start off thinking they're going to help people.
Right. I'm not talking
You
about
know,
just psychiatry. I'm talking about like the power structure.
oh, the power structure. Yeah,
You
you
know what
look
I
at it.
mean?
You
Because
have
they work in the
Fauci.
same way.
Look at freaking
Yes.
Fauci. That guy's demon possessed. If I ever saw anybody, he is crawling with those things. He is such a
Yeah.
psychopath. It is unbelievable.
Right. It's the psychopath is almost like it gives up over its will to the demon's will.
Yeah,
Right.
that guy's demon possessed. He needs to be locked up for life.
I I
He's a
wish so
very
too.
dangerous individual.
I agree. And we've seen the wave of destruction that he's caused, and he's so proud of having a
Yeah, and all these
bobblehead.
people that went along with him too.
Right. Yes. The people go along with it, right?
Yep.
So
Yep.
we spoke about how the demons have a hierarchical system where you described how it's almost like they were coming and punching a clock, and they were like afraid of the ones that were higher up than them that
Yeah.
could meter to get justice or whatever. And this is almost like a mirror of what we have in almost all structures of government and medicine and religion. It's a hierarchical structure of obedience. And if you got normal good people who are brainwashed by mind control to follow orders, who's to say the people above them don't have a voice telling them what to say? Because these you're just describing about how the voices were like, go talk to that girl over there,
Yeah.
like they are influencing the real world through their
Oh yeah, sure they
manipulations.
are. And look at the mess the world is in right now.
Yeah. Look
Yeah,
at that's where I'm getting at.
they're loving it. They love wars. All the misery and suffering in the war. That's a hog's trough for them. They love it.
And
And
they're
then they're
doing it
taking
right there in Palestine, right where
yep,
Jesus was.
yep.
Yeah.
Killing, just bombing out the entire, just killing thousands and thousands of people. And then here's the Iranians killing 50,000 of their own citizens that are challenging them. I mean, they're hated by most of the population there. You know, you talk about psychopaths. Those guys are psychopaths.
Yeah, Israel, right? Like, oh my God, yeah. And
Well,
but I mean, yeah, like so, but okay, so the president could be run by these things. So we're the series with William, it was about the Epstein files, and Epstein was given his mansion for free by this guy named Les Wexner. And Les Wexner had an interview from Forbes magazine. Okay, this is The Bachelor Billionaire on Pins and Needles with Les Wexner. Okay, and in the search bar, I put Dybbuk, Dybbuk. Okay, now let's search for that. Let's see. On the morning Leslie Wexner became a billionaire, he woke up worried, but this was not unusual. He always wakes up worried because of his Dybbuk, which pokes and prods and gives him the itchiness of soul that he calls spilks, some Yiddish word. Sometimes he runs away from it on the roads of Columbus, or he drives away from it on one of his Porsches, or flies from it in one of his planes. But then it's back with his first coffee, his first meeting, nudging it at him. Soon, 600 stockholders and some. So okay, they're setting the okay. Let's keep going here. And now perhaps it is time to reintroduce Leslie Wexner's Dybbuk, the demon that always wakes up in the morning with Wexner and tweaks and pulls at him. When he was a boy, his father called it tummel, Tummel, a churning, so he feels molten and unformed, pricked by these spiritual pins and needles. He met this demon again when he was 40 and already worth $500 million. When he climbed the mountain in front of his house in Vale and almost froze to death and decided to change his life. This demon he calls terminal spilks, which makes him wander from house to house, repeating the pattern of his childhood on a luxurious scale, wanting more, swallowing companies larger than his own. It is precisely the reason that Wexner has $1 billion and didn't stop at, say, 5 million and a new Mercedes every other year, and what he calls normal life, bridge on Wednesdays and bar mitzvahs on Saturdays at the Winding Hollow Country Club in Columbus, which seemed like Buckingham Palace to him when he was 15. It is why he will have 2,500 stores instead of 250, or three, why he has 6 houses and is building a 7th in Aspen, why he has 2 planes, why he dates more than one woman, why he has no children, why he has his boards, his collections, his Wexner Foundation. It is why he goes to Vale for a single night to look out at the mountain and hold a woman he has flown in his arms. It is why he hasn't married, although after knowing him a year, one girlfriend converted to Judaism and actually changed her last name to Cohen, which Wexner insists was not because of him or because of what it would do to his mother if he married a Christian. Jesus. Okay, and here's a quote. I have all these ideas and I'm frustrated because I can't do them all, he says, explaining that this is the agony. Okay, and he's got this Agony and Ecstasy is his favorite book. Okay, let's see where else it is here. So the Dubuque is saying more. What next? Okay, his insatiable drive for power.
Well, you look at his whole focus is away from spirit
Yeah,
toward physical material stuff.
very good
The
point.
guy is soulless.
Yes, yes,
Doesn't
yeah,
he doesn't recognize that he's a spiritual being. His whole world consists of physical garbage,
right.
you know, and the and
And left brain like numbers and like
yeah,
betting and all that. Yeah,
that the insatiableness is it's a curse. You know, he's got no spiritual foundation whatsoever.
well, he's the guy that paid for Epstein, so
Yeah.
he owns most of the state I live in. And Les would pick up his Dubuque, his Spilks, because it is part of his genius. He
Yeah,
considers it part of his genius.
it's like the movie stars that are being directed by, you know, these demons, you know, do this, do that, sleep with this guy, do this thing, you know, and I'll make you a success.
Right. And these movie stars, they work for people like the guy who was paying for P. Diddy, he just died recently. I forget his name, but he like owned, I mean, he discovered Whitney Houston, like, he became this huge power magnate. And those people run dark rituals. They use humiliation rituals. I mean, even if you don't believe in demons, they are mind controlling people through torture and the benefits of money, like the ultimate stick and carrot. you know like they'll steal your children and kill them in front of you. I mean, and it's not just Hollywood. Like, if you look at the Epstein files, which we had done on Wake the Dead, has done for extensive, horrific. I mean, there are women who were underage girls who were being used as breeders, and they would induce they would induce labor like 3 months too soon, so it would be born premature, and they would just steal the baby. I mean, and she would watch the baby get stolen, and she would cry. I mean, like the horror that
That's just raw evil.
seriously raw evil, man.
All those friggin' congressmen who were involved with him should all be locked up. They shouldn't be allowed to have an office.
Exactly,
Get
and
them out of there.
right,
They've already proved who's controlling them.
right, who they have allegiance to, who they
Yes.
are they are
Right.
obliged to.
Yep.
Yeah. So I am thinking maybe these people that are unabashedly just, I mean, Les Wexner went to this hearing and he lies, just lies, and no
Yep.
one questions, no one cares.
Just like Fauci.
Right?
Lie after lie after lie after lie.
Yeah. And now he doesn't even have to lie anymore. He's just like,
No.
oh, fifth,
Uh,
fifth, fifth, all
yeah,
that. Like,
111 times.
that itself is a magic number. It's like, oh man. So it's as if this was an orchestrated event.
Oh yeah.
This all of these have been orchestrated. I mean, 9/11, and we think,
Yeah.
oh yeah, psychopathy and psychopaths, they want to steal the gold, they want to do these things. And yes, it gives them the excuse, but it's also creating a loosh, the pain and anguish, and it's creating terror, terrorism
Yeah.
and
And
terror.
that's what these things feed off of.
Right,
That's their food. Loosh.
right, right. So, do you see? I mean, is there like some sort of way that we can see without are there some tells that you told us before about how those that are affected, they're drained by their energy, and you could see him, like he couldn't get up the stairs very easily. It was like, and you, with your eyes from a distance, you saw the symptom, and you were able to recognize, oh yes, that's the voices
Yeah,
feeding.
they were drained.
Right.
But see, the thing is, they didn't know they were drained because they were feeling so bad all the time that, you know, feeling
Just
drained
mixes
is just
in.
part of mixing in with the rest of their misery, you know. But then when I started asking them, you know, how much energy do you have before the voices come and how much energy do you have after they come? There was a statistically significant difference. We ran a t-test on it. It was
Wow.
statistically significant, you know. And the other thing is the voices didn't want me telling them that they were parasites. If the voices were going to go off, it would be when you're telling the patient that the voices are parasites, that they're feeding off them. That's the last thing they wanted that patient to know.
Right.
They would just blow at that time. So if they're going to blow up on you, that's when they're going to blow up on you. And the patient needs to know that. You know, like
What if
if you had a big leech on your arm, you wouldn't just sit there and look at it. You'd do something about it.
But what if you're Les Wexner and you know it's there and you made a contract with it to be there?
He's part of it. He is it.
Right?
He is it.
So, I mean, we know they work with contracts. I mean, this is how it's like a legal system almost. The way the demons abide by rules, they have boundaries they stay within, they're allowed to feed when they do. And I mean, uh so what if there was a contract and the demon doesn't need to hide that it's a parasite anymore, because they're blowing up on the because a schizophrenic doesn't know he has demons. He doesn't know what's going on. And like maybe, like you said, the demon doesn't allow him to make the connection in his brain because it has hold of the brain. So it's like, oh, don't you notice you're tired? Oh,
No, they don't.
because they can't think that, like the SRA survivors, they their brains are partitioned through the trauma, and demonization, which is another thing I don't know if you know about, where the rape and the ritual actually injects demons into the victim, kind of like how they come down through the alcohol, like they're waiting to be like to ride in on, on the event that's happening at that place. It's this also happens with the trauma abuse. And so like it makes it so their brains can't think a certain thing. They don't know that they had another personality. It makes a wall in the brain. So
Well, one thing that's so insidious about it is that the voices 90% of the time, if not more, sound just like the normal internal dialogue of the person himself. So, of the thousands or 10,000 thoughts that go through your head on a regular day, there's no, we are the voices do this. It's not like that. It's all of a sudden
well, it's not like a heavy metal song.
yeah, they love heavy metal.
I'm sure. Yeah, me
Oh, they
too.
love heavy metal.
Yeah, right, right.
That's one of the things I tell my patients: don't listen to heavy metal.
Wow.
Don't watch murder mysteries,
Right.
or that kind of detective garbage. They feed on that.
You know, I'm sorry, but we had another licensed professional counselor, John Euler, who told us about psychopathy, and we were looking at that. And he was working in institutions like you were, and he was working with psychopaths, and a lot of them were like, and he would talk about how it's not like they're just born that way. It's a wearing away. It's like a slow like digression into like not believing, not paying attention to conscience. I want this thing that feels good. Not gonna. So it's like, it's like how porn is, and he relates the psychopathy of
Oh
porn.
yeah,
It,
that porn is a part of their agenda.
right.
See, once again, you're being moved away from spirit into the physical.
Right.
They want you centered on the physical.
Right.
You know, the feelings, the money, the people bothering you, whatever. All outward, all outward. Nobody, no looking inward.
And those alcoholics that won't go to heaven or the next place or wherever, they're stuck here because they want the alcohol, the physical feeling of the drunk, and that's what keeps them bound here like that. And like even the Buddhists say the suffering is the loss of the thing that you love. Like that's what we all, like the baby can't have the booby anymore. And it's like it's an intrinsic part of human life. But anyway, I brought up about John Euler because he caught, like in prison, they're not allowed to have like, violent pornography. You know what I mean? But they were allowed to have these murder mystery novels.
I know they did that in the prison I was in. One of the supervisors played the what is it? It was a murder mystery thing. Like it was disgusting. It was just pure rot.
Dude, and they're
They shouldn't
they
have been
getting
looking at
high,
that.
like they're getting.
Oh yeah, they're fed
Yeah,
on it,
dude.
and I went nuts when I heard that, and I went and I complained,
Smart. Right.
complained to the warden, and the warden stuck with him. And I talked to one of the prisoners who worked there after he got out. He said, "Oh yeah, we love that stuff." He said, "We loved it."
Of course,
And here
man.
they're playing to this violent population, these violent movies that just feed it. They're brainless. That's the kind of people that work there.
It's
And
almost
even the warden approved it. And I'm like, I can't believe it. What is matter with you people?
right. Maybe the warden got that job because he's in some secret society coven, whatever.
Well,
Who knows?
he,
I know you're not going to say some, but I'm just speculating. These people in positions of power, they're given those positions because they want to keep their structure, their hierarchical structure. I'm friends with an ex Levian Satanist, and he was being groomed for the Club of Rome. They were going to give him this position where he would help with the reduction of the human population. He was very adamant about how he hated people and how they should all be killed and shit at the time, and they were like, this guy's perfect, and and he wouldn't tell secrets, and he would follow orders, and and then they try to give him a coven, and he's like, I don't want to control people, and it's all he gets out of it. But it's still like they were grooming him for this specific job, just like Fauci, I'm sure, was groomed for his job. He's the perfect psychopath for that job. The
Yeah.
whatever presidents are groomed for, just like the stars on TV movies and stuff, they are groomed for that job, and created for that and put into this. So
And then you look at all this fraud going on in the U.S. government right now that's coming out. Trump is just digging it up and saying, look at this mess,
right,
and here they're fighting the, Save America Act, which is basically, legal elections. You can't cheat. And they're
right,
fighting it tooth and nail. This John Thune is sitting there. Oh yeah, well we don't have the vote, so I'm going to just put everybody on vacation all summer, and we'll think about it later. The
right.
friggin' scumbag.
So it's like the evil agenda always gets put through. You know what I mean? It always gets approved by what like because those certain people are in those certain
Yeah,
places.
and they just found out how much money the communists are paying, all these congressmen. You
Oh,
know,
right. Yeah, and
they're
the
they're they're
the
they're
the
paying all.
APAC too, like that whole
Yeah, yeah.
thing. Yeah. And like yeah. So there's and plus I heard the other day that um now that USAID is no longer funded, rap music disappeared. It's like
Oh, really?
yeah. Yeah, there
I
hasn't
never
been
could figure that stuff.
there, yeah, but it was, it would feed the demons. Like these people would, get guns and they'd go shoot their friends, and you know what I mean. Listen
Yeah,
to,
yeah.
call women whores, and treat them bad. Like it created a culture.
That's interesting. That's really
Yeah,
interesting.
yeah, you should look into that. Yeah, but so like this culture is like it's set upon our heads to make us believe we need to do these evil things to like, oh, we gotta vote. You gotta vote for evil because it's the lesser evil, right? Because they're gonna be evil anyway. So we better mitigate this evil somehow with this voting thing they give. So like it, even people that are normal do satanic shit because this fucking society, excuse my language, guy, everybody, because this society is the way it is, and it has been constructed this way by people like Les Wexner and people like Epstein making these connections.
Well, even from the time you're a kid, you come into a structure. You
Yes,
know,
yes,
you're brainwashed from the time you
circumcision, like
yeah,
freaking, they
yep, and
injections, like all of it.
and everything.
Yeah,
Physical reality. These are the rules. This is how it works. You got to do this. You got to do that, and then they put you through all this schooling, and it's a brainwashing kind of thing to
right.
make you fit in.
And to fit in with what the a whole world that worships money. And what does money give us but those physical sensations of like whores and drugs? You know what I mean? What that guy was
Yeah.
getting, the meth head, when he was stealing the cannabis. So it's like
It's
mammon.
always focus outside, not look inside. Don't look what's in there. You don't want to
Right,
see that.
right. And so can we see what's inside them? Do you think there's a way that we can maybe spot them? Or I know that Jesus says know them by their fruits, and Les Wexner has
Oh
made
yeah,
a lot
that's
of
the
fucking
best
rotten
way
fruit.
by
Yeah.
how they do what they do. I remember, back in the 70s when I was working at that psych hospital, when I was walking down the street somewhere and somebody's talking to themselves, I went, yeah, right away you knew they were schizophrenic. But now they got these cell phones. It took me years to get over that because somebody's walking down with some device in their ear that I can't see, and I'm like, another schizophrenic. They're taking over the world. It's
Dude,
like
yeah.
it took me years to get over that.
Wow, you're traumatized by all the people talking talking themselves.
Well, it was
It's
like,
like
yeah,
shell shock. You're like, oh, like you hear another
yeah,
one, like,
it
yeah.
was. It was like, oh, they're surrounded. They're all over. They're taking over the universe.
Yeah, man, don't go to the city. Holy crap, they're everywhere. Yeah,
Yeah, and most of those people that are vagrants, you see down and out, just living in rags, pushing around, you know, shopping carts full. Those guys are most of them are mentally ill,
right, right. And so you did,
and they choose that.
right. I chose to be homeless for a while. It's pretty
Yeah.
good. I had a van to live in, so it was okay. But I mean, you know, it's I think choosing that is also like I don't want to be in this evil system. You know what I mean? Sometimes people break out, like if you go to Rainbow Gathering, those people are all homeless and they have their heart in the right place. A lot of them, not everybody, but like you know, they can make a food in the woods. They can make some gourmet stuff. They don't get diseases from the water. They you know what I mean? Like they know how to live proper, even though they're homeless. But those anyway. Uh, so the way that the people are talking on their cell phone, or the way that this cell phone has infiltrated our brains, and it fooled you into thinking, oh my God, it's a schizophrenic. Do you think maybe we are like this cell phone digital uh future that we are living in? Do you think that has some sort of connection to them, to the voices? Can they manipulate the digital signals? Can they
Well, yeah.
inhabit the
The,
AI?
well, I don't know
That's
about inhabiting the AI, but
that's
when I
kind of
talk
tough to
about this kind
answer,
of
right?
stuff,
Yeah, right.
agreement. A lot of times, the signal goes out, the the picture disappears, the sound goes out. Uh, I get disconnected. Uh, so they can do the electronics. I was working with one schizophrenic gal in Greece the other day, and she had one strong voice, and we were going after it, and dealt it a good blow. And then so Mace will remove all the trauma that these people, that the voices feed off of that trauma. You get rid of that trauma, their food source starts dwindling, and they start getting weaker.
That's
You
why
know,
they abuse the children so much. Right.
oh,
So
the
they're
voices hate the
traumatized as a
voices hate
kid,
children.
right?
Yeah. Yeah,
Wow.
virtually all of them are traumatized. They have either, severe physical, sexual, or emotional abuse, um, or they use meth. I mean, most schizophrenics have a core of horrible abuse.
Right. And a lot of addicts are using because they want to forget the abuse or they want to get, you know what I mean? So it's like a self-licking ice cream cone kind of shit. It's just, yeah. So, what do you think that maybe the way that our brains are now, the way that we are so we give our will to this technology so easily, maybe that is terraforming the planet to have it be a new world for the demons to feed. Do you
Well, I'm
think?
sure they'll try to take advantage of it, so it's got to be monitored very closely. Even now, on your cell phone, you start talking about, hey, I'm thinking about buying a new car, and then 24 hours later, here comes all these advertisements for
Right,
cars onto your cell phone. They're
right.
listening to you. You
That's
know,
right.
they're
Right.
looking for what you want. They're looking for to fill your desires for money. You know,
Yeah. And
and you look at,
whores and meth.
it's just control, control, control. And that's what psychiatry is doing. They're just controlling these people. They're drugging them down in a mass. You know, they're not making them any better.
Right.
Nobody's getting any better. They're
Right.
just dumbing them down so they don't feel the pain.
And the cell phones are kind of like a drug because I mean, people even are like, oh, they're folded over like the people in Kensington and Philadelphia. You know what I mean? Like they're, they're always looking down at their phone. They're not like aware. They're not using their cognitive mind. They're just absorbing like a sponge, this feed. And,
And television too.
right. Yeah.
Look
Television
at it.
is the old
You put it
classic.
on. I mean, 90% of what's on there is negative.
Right.
You know,
Yeah. Right. And
so
yeah, who's
so
running the
and
TV?
these voices, like I said, they this a number of schizophrenics have asked the voices, "Who are you? What are you?" And their reply was consistently, "We are you." They want
Right.
you to believe that those negative thoughts that come into your head are yours, and you should be acting on them because they're the truth.
Just like how God's name is I am. Right. Kind of like maybe that was anyway. But I mean, maybe that and Muhammad was a schizophrenic, wasn't he? Or he was epileptic, and then a lot of these shaman and stuff, they are affected, maybe, you know. Um, yeah. So okay.
So you got to watch the thoughts that come into your mind. You
Right.
know, they're going to come, but you do not have to pay attention to them. Where your attention goes, your energy goes with it. So if you're paying attention to negative thoughts, you're energizing those negative thoughts.
Right. Yeah.
You may
And
not be able to control them coming in, but you certainly control how much attention and energy you're going to give to them.
you can get stuck there. And it's like you can't stop thinking once you start, sometimes in some thoughts
Yeah,
like,
you start remunerating,
yeah,
and they can enter your mind and they can see every rotten thing you've ever done, and then they could start accusing you. Oh, you remember when you did that, or da da da, and generate. They could care less about you. They want the energy. And
right,
in the mace practice, working with it happened to me once. It happened with another practitioner who were hearing these voices. After we got rid of all the trauma, they had nothing to feed off of, and they would actually complain. We need more energy. You know.
wow.
So it actually weakens them, even though in a lot of cases mace won't get rid of the voices. It will weaken them so the person can start taking control on their own.
So loosh is almost like something you can measure. It's, you know, that's very interesting. And it's always, and why is this world so heinous, and why all this bad happens to good people, like obviously because we are a farm for them. Like we're just,
Yeah, we are. We are. That's where they get all their energy from us.
so yeah, I mean, they are parasites. They are so is yeah, I guess we didn't really answer like is there a way to see the parasite? I guess we can see its workings, but we can't really see it as it's in there because the person thinks it's himself.
Right.
And so
So
that
and
person,
schizophrenics struggle with that. They go, "Is this me or is that, you know, uh, and they fight against that, but if the voices get them to believe that they are them, they become them.
right.
So they take over at that point. If they convince
Wow.
the person that, well, these thoughts are yours, this is who you are, that's what they're all about. Once they do that, that person loses control and they start gaining control. So they're constantly after more and more and more control,
Right.
just like the government is.
Right. Yes. Right. I mean, that's what it's all about. I mean, really, that's what the big dog does to the little dog. Arr, control. Like, um, that is their science. That's what all they care about. Um, wow. And so the people that have given themselves over, like Wexner, who's even advertising it in a magazine, uh, they're claiming their power, and then they're watching nothing happen. And so it proves to all the other people, like, oh yeah, this is the way to go, and this is right and good, and this is natural. Yeah.
Yeah,
um,
again, it's the never enough, never enough.
yeah,
It's like they're plagued. No matter what they do, it's never enough. They got to keep more and more and more, and it's like drinking salt water.
right. And it kind of like the way the porn goes. It's like,
Yeah,
oh, barely legal, and then like even younger, and then like, and babies were, um, and then you look at the people like Epstein and what he's doing, and it's never enough for him, right? And he loves that young women, their bodies, and taking them as full control of his own. Like this is under my control now, and I'm going to do with it what I want.
yeah,
That's his whole life was doing that,
yes.
and he set up his whole life that way. So maybe that's something that we can see and recognize
Oh yeah,
because,
he was possessed.
right.
Yeah.
So yeah, and we can find that everywhere. These people, my goodness. Yeah, so I guess
Well,
yeah, there are, so I guess I think we got
it's
all the
said that that evil is necessary. So you have the good, you have the evil. And Swedenborg says everybody's assigned two guardian angels and two demons, right? And that kind of equalizes things out, which leaves the person to decide which direction they want to go.
right.
Okay, they're
The
making the decision.
the
So they
person
either
is the decision. The
yes,
awareness is the
the
deciding.
awareness is the decision,
Right.
and the person will move toward what they love the most. I mean, so robbers, they love robbing people. They prefer to rob people rather than go buy the stuff or be given it.
It's
That's
a
more exciting.
thrill.
It's a
Yeah.
thrill,
Yeah.
so they start moving in that direction. The good guys start moving in a good direction. I mean, so they choose. And just like here, you know, the schoolboys hang out with the schoolboys and the drug addicts with the drug addicts. Once you move into the other life, then these Swedenborg says the demons move toward their own kind. Nobody throws them there. That's their choice. They want to
Right.
be around those kind of people. And he says some of them will go, well, I want to go up to heaven, and they're allowed to go to a certain degree, and then they suffocate. They can't stand it, and they jump right back down to where they were.
Wow.
So he says they choose,
Wow.
just like the gangsters choose to be that way. That's their choice.
And that choice, like, effectively locks them out of the next wherever we're going,
Right.
for our soul.
Yep. You can move into darkness.
Right. And that keeps us as like a trap. And then you become one of all those alcoholics waiting in line to jump
Yeah.
on a body. Oh, I'm always like, this is
That's,
hell. Oh no, no, it's great. I love it here. No, but I think it might be hell. It's like I'm always like teetering back and forth. And like the more I learn, it's the demons are here, and the humans that choose evil are stuck here too.
yeah. And so are the good guys. So are, people like Trump who's standing up to all that stuff.
I don't know if he's that good, but we don't need to get into that. But I
Well,
mean,
do you prefer him over Biden?
but that's again, that's the trick. That's the mental trick of the lesser of the evil. Oh, he's that dude shits in gold toilets. He doesn't care about us. He obviously does what he's told. I mean, look at what the what's her name there, the Miriam.
Look at all the fraud he's uncovering. What do you
That's
mean he doesn't care
hey
about you?
hey. You know
That's
what?
money that's stolen from you. It comes out
Get
of your pocket.
not me actually. I'm not going to talk about that on the podcast, but um, uh, okay. I'll tell you. I'll give you. How about Jimmy Savile? He went to church every day.
I
Did
have
you know
no
that
idea.
he was a
I don't know
Catholic?
who. I don't
Oh,
know who he is.
Jimmy Savile was this. He was a music producer, or no, music presenter on TV in Britain. He had the white hair and the long cigar. You see pictures of him, I'm sure. He wears crazy glasses. He was an insane pedophile who would have keys to homes where they kept children that were mentally ill and or physically broken, and he would rape them. He would go into he would steal body parts from cadavers. He was a full-on witch. He was buried at 45-degree angle, like a witch is. I mean, he stayed with his mother's dead corpse for like 2 weeks doing
Was he a
stuff with her body.
preacher or what?
He yeah, a good guess. No, he was on Top of the Pops. He would like present music on national television. He was the guy, and he was best friends with King Charles, Prince Charles, and he would go
Oh,
on
yeah.
TV and he would talk about sneaking underage girls in the boot of his car into the Buckingham Palace for the. He would talk about that on TV,
Oh,
and so
yeah.
like, but
Yeah,
he
yeah.
would also he would go to Catholic church every day. He was devout, like he would. Oh, yeah, because for the witch is if they're doing good and to equal out the bad, because so like Trump might be doing good, sure, but he's also giving them bombs to bomb Gaza. I mean, right there, dude. Case
Well,
done. So
I think, the Jews have some control over him.
of course,
I think he's got to pay them back for getting into office.
yes, indeed.
But you look at all these senators. The Save the America Act. Whatever president would take on something like that? What other president would take on these psychopaths in Iran?
Hey, man, I that's a question that I can't answer because I know that I'm a full on anarchist, and I know that nobody cares. And so I want to get that shirt.
Nobody
Nobody
cares.
cares. Well, nobody cares. The people get the signs in their yard that's like vote for this guy. Vote for nobody because nobody really cares. Nobody will save you from, because that's the truth. There is not anybody that rises to that level of power. They are there because they,
Remember, he's an outsider. He
I
doesn't
guess,
belong. He
but the
doesn't belong there.
Rothschilds bailed him out twice. So he's beholden to them. So, like, I mean, and the Rothschilds
Well,
are
he's
Israel. They created Israel. I
yeah. I'm
mean, that's
sure
what,
he's got his constraints.
so yes, just like
Nobody
the
no.
demons do. They work within their boundaries.
Uh,
They
well, he's doing what he can
right,
within the constraints that
right.
he's got him.
So,
Nobody gets to be
but listen,
president without beholding. Most of
exactly,
these guys were deep state. The
right.
Bushes. You look at
But
Bush.
listen,
Obama was freaking evil. You talk
right.
about an evil sucker there.
I agree, man.
What a
But
psychopath he
just,
was.
but I know that you're a smart man, and I know that you really care, and I don't want to get into these kind of I don't want to get in an argument, but really like who is you. You don't know Trump. You can't really say he's good or what you think he's good, and I believe that what you're saying and you are sincere, and so I don't want to argue about it because I love you. You're a good friend, and and I can see where you're going with it, and you don't like the corruption, and so that is, in my opinion, that's how they get you. That, but besides that, good people can be besides Trump, like whether some other character who may be in league with people like Les Wexner, who has Dubuque. Maybe there are characters that are there for us to see and for us to get emotionally invested in that will lead us like a shepherd leads sheep, and make us think, oh, this is justice is coming, and give us like, people will get behind a movement because it's easier than uh, you know, just walking away. I don't know. I'm not gonna. I don't want to. I'm
Well,
not gonna.
you look at Fauci. I mean, you're right to
Right.
they're withholding a large body of information that
Yes.
of against him that they will not let out. You know,
Right. That's
everybody
true.
knows he's a scumbag, but
Just like
they have the evidence, but they won't let it out.
just like how they said there's a large portion, I forget the percentage of the Epstein files has rape or murder or child pornography, and they're not gonna show that. They're not gonna tell
Yeah,
who's in those videos. They're just
probably because half of Congress would be
exactly.
in prison.
And that's what what's her name said. Bondi said, if we release the files, the government would dissolve. And like, I'm like, hell yeah, because I mean, goddamn, like we don't need this mind control. But really, that's the truth. Like, we are all, even the good guys are beholden to others who like have orders, and they're following orders, and who's at the top, you know and we know who's at the top. Power, the way, just the whole way that the hierarchical structure is, like, in your heart what's good. You don't need someone to tell you. So the fact that there is a hierarchy telling what is moral and what is right, that's anti-God right there. Like, I mean, we can tell, like, if a cop pointing a gun at somebody who's like trying to feed their family, whatever, that cop has to choose to pull the trigger, and it's right there. Like, oh, do you choose mammon or do you choose life? Do you choose the money, the paycheck of, so like really
Yeah,
that's where the
it's always
evil.
the choice is yours.
That's right.
You know, you're the one making the choices.
That's right.
You know, all that information's coming in, but only you can make the choice to
That's
act
right.
on it. Even though the demons are putting bad stuff in your head, telling you to smack the guy in front of you or spit on him or,
Yeah,
punch
yeah,
him in the face or something, you
yeah.
know, that that thought's not yours. Virtually every negative thought that comes into your head doesn't belong to you.
I love that. Because I have a lot of sad thoughts, man.
They're not yours.
Right. I had to put my dog down, and it was like a couple of years ago almost now. It was like a year and a half. And it still haunts me like every day. Like I cry like all the time. And I'm sure I got some demons sucking off me like a straw. And I was convinced to do that it was my choice to do that. And I'll never go, like, I'll always have that. Like, oh,
Well, you had to put him down because he was suffering, right?
he was suffering.
Well,
He was falling
that's the
apart.
most
He was falling
that
apart. Like
that's the
it
most
it
humane
hurt.
thing.
It hurt for him to poop. He couldn't poop. Like it
Yeah.
was it.
Well, that's the most humane thing you could have done.
Yeah. Thank you.
I would have done the same, or I would have had somebody else do it. I don't think I would have had the heart to do it myself.
Dude, I walked him right in there, and all the nurses and shit were clapping for him. It was a surreal experience.
Why were they clapping for
I
him?
don't know. They were all like, "Yay!" Like because he was coming down the hallway to go meet his maker. Like, I don't know. They were also trying
That's
to feed
weird.
him chocolate. Like it was,
That's
you
poison
know,
for dogs.
I know. Like, and they're like, "Well, he's dying anyway, so now you can give it to him." I'm like, "Whoa." These people are crazy. So I mean, I gave him liver, like it was these dried liver bits, and he loved it. He was like, "Oh wow," he was going nuts. But then, like the moment when his body stopped moving, he looked at me in terror. He's like, "What's
Yeah,
happening?" Like he stopped
yeah,
chewing, and he's like, oh, and
yeah.
yeah. So I can't. We all have these things, and the demons can use it against us. Like,
Yeah, they're feeding off of that right now. But
yeah,
they'll look at the alternative. He would have just suffered
I
more.
agree. Like
He
they
would
were.
have made you suffer more.
I know it was.
You really didn't have any alternative. And
You're right.
anybody who owns a pet goes through that same thing at some time.
Carlin said that. George Carlin said it. You're buying a small tragedy.
Yeah.
It's true.
The
Yeah.
best fix for it's get yourself another dog.
Right. That's yeah. and then it'll happen again, right?
Well, yeah,
I
but
know.
you know that.
That's what everybody tells me. They're like, when are you gonna get another one? I'm like, oh, my wife doesn't like dogs. Like, she's free now. She finally has no dog.
Well, get yourself a
So
little
yeah,
one like a Chihuahua or something. They're not
man,
much trouble.
yeah.
They're good
That, God bless you. I
watchdogs.
love you for saying that. That's great. One of my a good friend said that she told me that I could borrow her dog sometime. Like, she's like, come, like, take him, hang
That's not
out.
the it's
I
not
know
the
it's not the
same
same
thing.
exactly, but still, like, I mean, there will never be another Echo, and he's
No, but
like, he's a perfect soul.
well,
I hope he's a human
well,
now. Like,
my wife
yeah.
had a little Chihuahua here in Tucson, and it would just go outside and bark. Calling in every coyote for miles around. You know, so she took it out to the front porch once, and she fell asleep, and it was out on the driveway barking. All right. So the coyotes swept through, took it, killed it, and it was hanging from their mouth when she woke up and saw the coyote
Oh,
running away from it.
oh,
So she blamed herself for a long time, felt miserable, and then she went and got another chihuahua, and it just disappeared. It
yeah, it
just
happened
went.
again, dude. Yeah, right. Yeah, right. You
The
can't.
one we have now doesn't bark out in the yard. But
Oh, do
look
you
at all
live
the
in a with coyotes or coy dogs around? Is that?
coyotes are running around here all the
Oh man,
time. Wild pigs are out here.
wow, really?
Owls with 4 foot wingspans will pick up a cat and carry it
Wow,
off.
yeah, wow.
Yeah,
Yeah, it's a small tragedy. Everybody, be aware. And
yeah.
that's
But
and these
look at all the years of
that's true.
love you had from that compared to that one
My
thing.
life
You
is
really
way
didn't have a.
better than it could have been, like,
Heck, get
without him.
yourself another dog, a little one. Little ones are much less trouble.
Yeah, he was a pit bull. He was a big guy, and
Yeah, yeah.
I couldn't get rent anywhere. And instead of like giving him away or doing, I just lived in a van. That's like, because in Massachusetts they wouldn't rent to anybody with a dog over 40 pounds. It's like some like insurance like wouldn't. So like you can't. So like
Freaking
whatever. I'll be
Massachusetts.
homeless. Yeah, dude, that place is hell. Like,
Yeah, yeah.
bunch
Massachusetts.
of
And
crazy
then
people.
Minnesota, New
Yeah,
York,
right. Yeah, right.
taken over, completely
Yeah,
taken over. You
yeah,
talk about, you know, demons.
right. Yeah, look at California and like Philadelphia. Like,
Yeah,
holy shit. Like,
yeah, yeah.
yeah. And so, I mean, that's kind of really the reason why I wanted to have you on is because of the way the state of the world is. Did maybe do you have you thought any thoughts in regards to the way things are going, and has it made you think about the voices? Have you had any insights since the pandemic and since the Gaza and the Ukraine and the Iran? I mean, all this crap, like the burning children alive, and like,
Well, you can't concentrate on that stuff.
yeah, right,
You
please,
know,
yeah,
it's like this million billionaire guy. He was concentrated on money and material stuff. Get in there and read, the Gnostic stuff or read Swedenborg. Turn your attention to something
right,
brighter. Get yourself another little dog.
right, yeah, man. Yeah. I mean, have you recognized anything? Have you heard?
Things are changing,
Tell
and
us about that.
they're changing for the better. You look at this, all this corruption is being exposed.
Right,
You know, the a whole bunch of these fraudsters have already been sent to prison.
right.
You know,
Yeah, and it's happening
there's
all over the world. It's not just
yeah, it's happening all over the world.
right,
Yeah, you look at uh, what the Muslim invasion over there.
right. Oh, in
It's
Britain or in Ireland and stuff, and like the
yeah,
guy like beheaded that woman in the street on
yeah,
camera. Like,
yeah, and Britain's just oh yeah, that's fine. Look
yeah,
what happened to Spain. You
right,
know, now what country? I think it was Norway is saying out, all of you out. They're
right,
throwing them out. They're telling
right.
the European Union, go screw yourselves. We're not putting up with your nonsense. We're done with this.
So people are finally coming to the senses, like
People are
even
starting to come around.
yeah,
All this corruption is being exposed.
right,
You know,
yeah.
Uh,
I mean, even
it's
the SRA stuff. I mean, like my show talks about it, any other shows, and people used to be able to say, "Oh yeah, that's satanic panic," and they just listen to
yeah, yeah.
music and
No,
whatever. But no, dude, it's
See,
real.
before you
Like,
can do anything about it, you have to know about it.
exactly. Right.
And Trump is exposing stuff about the deep state that has never, ever, ever happened before. And they've tried to kill him for it a number of times. They want him out of there.
Yeah. Yeah.
They
Right.
don't want to be exposed, and he's exposing them. He's even exposing Britain and the negative effect they've had on us. The Crown, the Tower of London. You talk about deep state scumbags.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
The Tower of London and
Right.
Britain and the Queen and all that kind of stuff.
Right.
Completely, they look like they're respectable and all that kind of stuff, but they got their fingers on everything.
Yeah, they're friends with Jimmy Savile. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Like they,
I wouldn't be
yeah,
surprised.
like they, and
This Epstein stuff, I mean, is bleeding up into them.
right. He did Trump. I just need to say this. I'm sorry, but Trump did say, "Why are you still talking about Epstein? Forget about it." Right. So, and he is
I'm
in
glad they
there.
didn't. You
Right.
know,
I'm glad they didn't too, because you care about what matters, right? You don't care about Trump is a hero or whatever. You care about what really
well,
matters.
he's got his roadblocks too. I mean,
Right.
he's
Right.
doing what good he can, but
And
he's got. What did he
he's in there
say?
deep in the trenches. Like Melania
Yeah,
was given to him by Epstein. You know what I mean? Like, I mean, it's a whole system of, and all of the Russian models and the Eastern European, like
yeah.
when the wall fell in 90, they just total corruption, and they scooped up all those young women, and they started, and Trump had his, like, the underage model girls, like that whole pageant system, and he was bringing them over there from, he was friends with Epstein, channeling them like this. Anyway, I don't need to keep going. I'm sorry, guys. But this show is not a politics show. We're not doing politics, but really, like, they are. It is changing because we're paying attention.
Well,
We, the
also
people.
the frequency of the planet is changing also, which is causing a lot of disruption. It's increasing.
Yes.
All this stuff is being exposed. It's starting to be handled. It's coming out in the open.
Right.
You can't do anything about it if you don't know about it. So that's the first step,
Right.
is to expose it and then go after it to the best you can. And
Right.
that's happening now.
Even the flock cameras are being taken down. Like, people are like, I've had enough. They won't get rid of their phones, but they're still like,
Oh yeah, in Britain they're attacking those cameras.
yes, and here too. Yes. And so, like, it's become, and some of the, there was a guy that, one of the guys that owns Palantir, one of the Palantir guys was talking about how all of the people that are taking down the flock cameras, they're terrorists. So, now once we classify them as terrorists, then we can go after our own people, and, oh,
Yeah.
you don't
Yeah.
want to be ruled by a surveillance state of technocracy? Well, we got to sell for you.
Well, you look at Iran. They killed 50,000 of their own people right now.
I didn't
And
know about that. I have to look into that. So,
oh, you got to go.
yeah.
Yeah, look into it.
Okay. And
Fifty
because,
thousand.
I mean, the people that are running Iran, I think, are bad people too. I think all the governments are run, and I think they're working in collusion. Like, look at when the COVID thing happened. All the enemies, they're all on
Yeah,
board
that's
together.
amazing how that. I remember I went to the doctor and he said, "Well, you should get this vaccine," and I said, "I will never take another vaccine as long as I live."
God bless you.
Like,
Yeah.
basically, take your vaccine and shove it.
That's why you're still here with us today. My own mother is not. She took three.
Yeah,
you
yeah,
know, her husband had a stroke and a heart attack, and,
yeah.
like, broke his
They
back from
they
falling
they killed
down.
millions. They killed
Right,
millions.
right, right. And it was on purpose. And the
Yeah,
people
sure, it was
following
on
orders,
purpose.
just following
Yep.
orders.
Too many people on the planet. We need to
Right,
kill a bunch. But
right,
then you look at the birth rate, and it's down in the dumps
right. Yeah,
everywhere, all over the planet.
it's true. It is all
They
it's
don't need
just
to
an
kill
illusion.
people. People aren't. They're
Right.
not having kids anymore.
But if my mom dies, then I cry, and they get to suck off of me like a straw,
Yeah,
you
yeah.
know?
You look at
And
all the misery that Fauci and his
exactly.
comrades cost.
And the grandmas that died in the nursing homes, and,
Yeah, and
like,
then you look at Como running for governor of California after he
Oh
murdered all
my
those people
God,
and
dude.
those old people in the nursing homes.
Yeah, New
He's
York,
running
right,
for governor of California
right.
for crying out loud.
Yeah, yeah. Like he thinks that
California's
people just
gone.
forgot about it. Right. I thought it was New York. I thought it was, but yeah. So, but still, he thinks that people just forgot about it. Nah, whatever. Like, it. The way
Yeah,
that
I
the
think it
TV
is New
is and
York.
the 12 24 hours of news and the way that flipping the scroll
Yeah, no, you need to
people
move.
forget like
No, you need to start moving in a more spiritual direction.
that's right. Yeah.
Because you're taken over by it.
Right.
Look at you. A lot of your thinking is negative, and that comes from them.
Right. Right.
There's no hope. It's a dark, deep, dark world. Keep in mind that when all these angels, the demons got thrown on this planet, it was only a small section of how many there were. There's many more positive angels than there are negative ones.
Right.
They just kind of rule this planet.
It seems that way. I mean, it might be because the population of evil souls is like building so much, and
Well,
I
the
mean, the
population is increasing,
non-corporeal ones, but no, I
but
mean the
there's
non-corporeal, the souls that don't get graduate out, the ones that are stuck here, like because they want more alcohol, the ones that want to like ride on us as parasites, just like the demons do, because they're not
the
graduating to the next life or the next heaven or whatever happens.
well, the only
They,
person you can really control is yourself.
yeah, good point. Yeah,
So
yeah,
if you're feeling spiritually devoid, you have two guardian angels. They're watching over you all the time.
right.
They can't help you unless you ask them. They're not allowed. These negative ones can come in and ravage you all they want, but the guardian ones, they're not allowed to do anything against your free will.
Right.
So you have to ask them to come and help. Otherwise, they
Uh,
can't.
it's almost kind of like the evil ones need to get your free will acceptance as well, the way that they do the revelation of the method. They showed us 9/11 and stuff in the movies before it happened, and
Yeah.
they kind of like
So
train our brains to get
there's an
ready
evil
for it.
force on this planet, and it's pervasive.
Right.
But
And
it's slowly losing ground.
yes, the people are they're choosing truth and they're choosing
Yeah, because
justice.
they're being shown the truth.
Right.
And it takes somebody with guts to show them the truth because, you know,
Like you, right? I
yeah,
mean, you are
well,
showing us the truth. Nobody else talks about this stuff.
no, they won't.
Yeah.
I had to drop my license because they would have went after me. I have no doubt they would have went after me. They would have dirtied it up. They would have made up some bullshit. Said, "Oh yeah, we took his license because of this."
Right.
So I just let it expire. So
Good.
now I have nothing to do with them.
Well, that's a
Mace has
control
nothing to do
mechanism.
with them either. It is.
It's like a coercion
Well, it
device,
was like taking a ball and chain off my neck.
right?
Yeah, you got to have this in-service training, which was also garbage.
Right.
You got to do this, you got to do that, and you got to pay us money.
Yeah, that's always there. You got to pay the
That's
money.
always there.
Right, right. Because it's slavery. You got to work. You got, yeah,
Yeah, I'm glad to get rid of that license. I've had it for decades. It's
right,
never did me any good.
right. All it was doing is make you comply with what they want.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah, and so yeah, we need to help. We need to focus on the growth and the love and the care for our neighbors and our
Yeah.
family, and that'll keep us
There-
grounded
There's a
into.
lot of good people out there. There's a
That's
lot of good
right.
people out there.
That's right. I meet them everywhere all the time.
Yeah.
I used to hate people. I was delusional, like, and I was a stupid person in the past. And, now I recognize that all the goodness and grace of God comes through people.
Yeah. Because everybody has a spark of God in them.
Right.
If they didn't have that, you'd be dead.
Yeah. Yeah. And then
That
Satan would
that's
really
life.
be in control, right? You know,
Yeah.
the decay would take over and your
And
body would be given over.
it's all over. I mean, you look at the
Right,
plants in the forest, how everything works.
right,
Everything works together. I
right,
mean, you know,
right.
everything has life.
Yeah,
And that life is God.
right. And all the demons can do is kind of leech off of,
Yes, they can only try to corrupt it and steal, you know,
right,
blind you from it,
right.
who you really are.
Yeah.
And that's what mace does. It removes all that crud, removes all that trauma, removes all that garbage. So the person becomes much closer to who they really are.
Um, can you tell us about how, because you work with people with Mace, right? And you promote this. And we did this in the episode before, and people should check it out. But I suspect I might have a few survivors of deep trauma, and uh, they might want to hear about, they might want to connect with you. So tell us more about how we can connect with you and how that they can find this MACE method in jerrymarzinsky.com.
Yeah, it's jerrymarzinsky.com. The website, there's a whole kind of write up on Mace there. There's a bunch of testimonials from people who have gone through it. Um, or they
Fantastic.
can, they can just write me directly. See, so, here's the testimonials down here.
Okay, here.
Yeah. And then there's Mace Energy Method, what that is.
Right.
Okay. And then there's up here how to contact with up on the top and the right, I
Wonderful.
think.
Yeah, all of your links.
Yeah.
And there's your book.
So here's online consultation.
Okay. Online consultation. Oh, wonderful. Private consultation with Jerry Marzinsky will help you to get rid of your voices or lessen them substantially. Your participation includes your willingness to do the work of working on yourself and your story.
Well, most of the work I do with is not with people who have voices. It's people that have, trauma.
Right,
I mean, and almost everybody has some kind of trauma.
right. That's beautiful. So people can go to jerrymarzinsky.com/consultation dash session to find this page exactly. And I will make sure to put all your links for those listeners to find and click on. So yeah, is there anything that you want to tell us that's coming up, or anything you're looking that you want to say before we go?
Uh, you know what? From what you said, I ought to put you down and give you a free one.
Yes, that would be great. Please.
Okay, hang on
Yeah,
after
let's.
the
Okay.
hang on afterwards, and I'll get you
Wow.
down. I'll get you down on the list here somewhere.
That'd be cool. Thank you very much, Cherry. Wow. That's great. Yeah, yeah, I mean, I've got a couple things that I can't stop thinking about. But yeah, that would be wonderful. I would love to talk with you about
Good, you
that.
get to experience it for yourself.
Wonderful. Wow. That's,
So stay on after you hang up, and
I
I'll
will for
get you on the
sure.
calendar.
We do. We will. So very good. Is there anything that I missed that we need to say to the listeners before we go?
No, there's we got the book. We already showed you the book.
Right. Find the
Jer-
book. The link will be there too. Yeah.
yeah, jerrymarzinsky.com.
Very good.
Um, and we'll get you signed up.
Wonderful. And yeah, this is next level information, Jerry. Thank you so much for being here for us and giving us your voice and your time. We very much appreciate you, and we love you and we thank you. It's
Well, thank you for having me.
wonderful. And thank you, listeners, for joining us. We will see you next time on Wake the Dead.